Okay.
No. Sorry, I'll put my face on the screen to say this part. Who would say that you're an infidel for teaching this? I don't. They have to just be taking a piece of it or something. I don't get what they're doing. Why would this offend them?
I'm not even going to try to put my head in that position to figure it out. I'm just saying that this stuff of talking about Yahuwah's words, some find to be detestable, reprehensible, abhorrent, scandalously disrespectful of His Majesty. It's like, really? I thought that I believe what I'm doing is exactly the opposite of all that, bringing His Majesty to full on put the spotlight on His face, put the spotlight on His words and saying, all hail.
Well, to anybody watching and thinking that that's what's going on, you're not hearing everything in totality. It's taking one verse at a time, one letter at a time, and severing everything. But if that's not, if you don't think that that's legitimate, then just stop and stick with whatever you got going on, and hopefully at the end of it all, you get to hear those words, "Well done, my good and faithful son." But I don't know, this group of people that is following eriktology and just digging into it are some serious studiers, man. Some serious studiers. Like they regard the Hebrew as.
The word Sinai, Samik Yod Nun Yod, means literally, look in the Red Dictionary, it means erudite scholarship. Why was Mount Sinai called Mount Sinai? Was there a fellow by the name of Sinai who discovered it and his name was pinned on it? Or did Yahweh say, I'm going to teach you my words from this mountain called, you better study this stuff with all your heart. Be the most extreme scholar of these matters that you could possibly muster of your own personal initiative. That's what erudite scholarship is. Just what you described, extreme study.
It's like we were talking about the 10 virgins. I was reading the children's Bible and it calls them 10 girls. If you don't like the word virgins. But, I mean, I honestly believe that parable is saying, don't burn out, man. And then how do you not burn out right now? How do you study? How do you study? What do you study? Just the English? The English is like the language of commerce, people. It's not even, like if you were to hop in a time machine and go back to like 1700s, or maybe even the 1600s, could you speak English to people back then the way we speak now? Would they even know what you're talking about?
It sounded and was written a whole different thing back then. You can look at some interesting, like first versions of the Bible back in the 1600s, and it's pretty interesting.
And like take someone like Elen, right? She didn't just back into this. She didn't just decide one day, hey, I'm just going to follow Eric for the sake of following. She's testimony many times because she wanted to prove you wrong. Don't just watch these videos, folks, and just say, oh, no, it ain't for me. Prove Eric wrong and then come back with something.
Absolutely. Well, the interesting thing, if we get into this next letter, Hey, of Psalm 119, it's basically addressing this very matter. Hey, Vav Resh, Nun Yod. Again, Vav Resh is the word for light. Hey is the. Nun Yod is I'm engaged in the action. So I could say it means the light I am beholding as evident. Say, well, that's what this is. Are sitting here beholding the light of this language to be evident. Then the next word, hey, bet yod nun yod, the understanding I am organizing systematically. There you go with erudite scholarship. Then, hey, Dalet Resh Yod Kaf Nun Yod. These all three words have a Nun Yod anyway. It means the way that I am going. Derek is to bend a bow and it's walking on the way. Then Hey Tet Lamed Bet Yod. Incline my heart. Hey Ayin Bet Resh is the Ivrit, the Hebrew. Hey Kuf Mem, the place appointed and established. Ha'aver, the Ivrit. And then Hine, behold, here, gladly. So this next section of 8 words is exactly validating what we're just talking about. What I'm showing you is that.
Look, I just want to throw this thing out here too, and it just bugs me is the idea of Yeshua is just what he does and what he offers is just there for the asking, and you and we have nothing else to do. It's just here. It's just the mindset is wrong. That's the mindset. It's wrong. It's if there's a balancing of scales, if Ayin, the 70th letter, or the number 70, if it's Mishpat and Zadikah, then we have to do something too. It's an unbalanced scale. There's no, like you picture a dung beetle, what it does. It's just poop just gathers in the Serengeti, or does he have something to clean it up? There's balance in nature. There's balance in everything. So if Yeshua did this, then we have to do something else. And what is that something else? We got to be.
It's answered in the next 8 words. See, this is the weird thing is that, I'm not sitting here trying to drive this progression of thoughts. Did David do this on purpose? Did David pick these 8 words, put them together as a poetry, write out the verses accordingly, come up with the next thing? What I'm saying is that if you read through this, it's an absolutely perfect progression of thought. And just as you're talking about what you're saying, this next section of Vav, it will arrive when I do. I will be obsessed toward shelter of rescue, protecting shade. I will guard and observe. I will walk accordingly. I will speak of. I will delight. I lift my hand. Exactly what you're talking about, Kurt. He's saying, I'm going to pick this up of my own proactive effort and pour my life into doing this.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to shut my camera off and let you go. We're going to jump into hay.
Does anybody else want to say anything about this real quick, or anybody else on the call? No? Okay, we'll get into Zion.
That looks really comfortable.
Gilin's cough is there on the screen. That must be a sign we should do all 11 letters. We'll take it to cough. How's that? We'll run through to cough. Okay, the letter Zion. Zakar Dabar. Remember, Dabar then being word or stipulated. That reminds me of Deuteronomy 30 and Leviticus 26. The word Dabar, as in the word Deuteronomy, is actually Debar-im, which is words, or Midbar, Mem Dalet Bet Resh is translated the book of Numbers, but it means in the wilderness or according to the words, according to what was stipulated. So this first word of the Zion section means remember. It was stipulated, it was agreed, it was determined, it was written, it was spoken. And then this word Zion Aleph Tav means this. The word Zion Hey means this, and this is Zion Aleph Tav, which also means this, but I could almost think of Zion Aleph Tav as meaning this with an exclamation point. This right here, exactly this. And so when Yeshua was put to the weapon, Zion is a weapon. Yeshua claims to be the Aleph Tav. So I can see this word spelled this with an exclamation point as Yeshua being put to the weapon, or the Aleph Tav being ripped to shreds, being put to the weapon, the crown of thorns being hammered onto his skull, the Roman flail tearing his flesh apart, which is a picture of what humanity has done to Yahweh's words. Remember, it was stipulated, but we collectively have ripped it to shreds and crucified it. So because of Yeshua being this word, the Jews and the Romans conspired and had each other work towards ripping him to pieces. But Yeshua being this word, ever since the crucifixion, then though you could say, well, the Torah was nailed to the cross, well, the words of this alphabet were nailed to the cross by the Romans because the Jews set it up, he resurrected. The Torah came back. Can't keep it down. Can't keep it buried. And ever since the crucifixion, the Christian church has put a crown of thorns and ripped the heck out of the pages of the Torah, saying it was nailed to the cross so we don't have to have any regard. And I'm not speaking ill of the Christians. I'm saying the Christian ideological paradigm that even Constantine put into empirical decrees for the Roman Empire, saying we will have nothing more to do with the detestable practices of the Jews, speaking of keeping the Shabbat and the Moedim, amongst other protocols. It's just history. So for 2,000 years, Yahuwah himself has sustained his words being put to the weapon, ripped to shreds. The Zion, I draw it like an axe, meaning to be cut off, which is a picture of the Sabbath day, the seventh day being cut off and separated from the rest. But it was previously drawn as a plowshare. So one form of the letter Zion in ancient times was two lines connected by a vertical line, not the letter A, but you might say two horizontal lines connected by, well, that's actually a picture. That looks horrible on the screen. Let me see if I can draw it out for you. Two horizontal lines connected to vertical, but then the previous form actually had these two spikes on it. And imagine yoking up an animal, pulling it that direction, then these two spikes would dig, as it were, a furrow. Here, I'll just draw two little furrow lines into the earth. So you picture as it's moving, sorry about this, as it's moving that direction, right? It drags the furrow lines. That became the English letter G, drawn as like a two-disc plowshare, pulling furrows into the garden that looks like a plowed field. So what I'm saying is the seventh letter in English, which is the letter G, that's where it got its shape. Though we draw it, or I draw it as an axe, it's the same picture as taking a hammer and beating the crown of thorns on Yeshua's head, or the Roman cat o' nine tails, the flail ripping across Yeshua's back, like the movie The Passion by Mel Gibson. It's where we get our letter G. That's why the previous shape of the letter Zion looks something like that. Just letting you know, all these things are valid shapes. And when he says this, Zion Aleph Tav, it's not only the second verse in the Zion section, it's also the last word, the first word of the last verse, Zion Aleph Tav. So if you read this, it means remember the word It doesn't, the letter hey isn't there. It's not the word. It's remember stipulation, word. Or we could put in English, he said so. It was stipulated. It was agreed. Remember the agreement. Remember on Mount Sinai, 3 times Israel said, everything that Yahweh said we will hear and we will do. Everything Yahuwah debarred, we will debar. We will shema and we will shemer and we will debar. We will hear and do the stipulations. We agree. That was a contract covenant Brit. The next third word here is Zayin Dalet Yod Mem. That word's not even in the dictionary. You'll see Zayin Dalet with a noon, but Dalet Yod is the word die, sufficient, enough, stop. But Dalet noon means malicious, wanton insolence or presumptuousness. So I could read this as saying, it was stipulated. That's the only thing that matters. Enough of our attitudes century after century, generation after generation of malicious, wanton, presumptuous insolence. It's like nothing but our own bad attitude. Zakarti, I will remember. Okay, I don't care if my parents remember, my brothers and sisters remember, my countrymen, my fellow Americans, my fellow Christians. I don't care if all of them choose to disregard. I will remember for myself. Because that's exactly what Yahweh said. He says, even if you guys forget, I will remember. So if I want to be like my Father in heaven, then I need to proactively take it upon myself to remember. And then the word Zion Lamed Ayin Pei Hey means to terrify, a tempest wind. Zion Mem Resh Vav Tav. Well, Zimmer, Zion Mem Resh means singing. I remember singing. Well, wait a minute. If it's a tempest wind, it's more like the howling of a great storm. But Zimmer also means cutting trees. And so a couple months ago, we had here, especially in Oregon City, in Oregon, was the hardest hit, this tremendous ice storm. It's the worst ice storm anybody in recorded memory had. And there were millions of trees ripped up by the roots, broken branches piled up all over the roads, power lines down. We were out of power here for 12 days. That's this picture. A terrifying tempest, howling wind, cutting trees by the millions. That's a picture of what has happened to the face of the earth. Look what happened when you see photos of dropping the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Look what happened when the Allies firebombed Dresden, or when the Germans attacked Poland or Russia. It's like World War II, World War I, the fields of France, just, gosh. I will remember this. The last 2 words. The letter Chet. Chet Lamed Kuf Yod. My distinction of a different character. The assigned portion. Chet is a fence. Chet is a pasture. Chet is a garden. Chet is a cage. Chet is a prison. Chet is a treasure box. Chet is a castle. Chet is something that's been set apart and designated. But this word Chet Lamed Kuf Yod means I am set apart, distinguished as a different character and assigned. Then the next word, Chet Lamed Yod Tav Yod, means ornamented, but it also means diseased. Like this guy's some blinking leper. This guy is some creep. This guy's an infidel, apostate, heretic, bozo, idiot. Well, whatever. Pick your favorite word of disparity, disparaging. Doesn't matter. The next word, Chet Shin Bet Tav Yod, means literally ingenious device, calculate, reckon, consider as important. That's the same word cheshav, which is this golden band that Yeshua is shown wearing in the book of Revelation. You know, if you don't look at Hebrew and you don't know the meaning of this word, when you see the Apostle John writing the book of Revelation and he sees Yeshua dressed with this white robe with this gold band around his chest, it's like, okay, so what? That's somebody's fashion statement. I don't know. I don't see anything appealing about that. I mean, whatever. Nice silk shirt, maybe, with some tropical print. He could have worn that, but no, he's wearing a white robe with a gold band. Okay. But the idea of being a band wrapped around, that's the word het shin bet. You see, he's speaking in pictures, and we don't know because we don't speak Hebrew. But the other interesting thing about the spelling of this word is that the tav yod means I will or I will have. So I will be ornamented by an ingenious device. Well, that's a picture of Yeshua being dressed up in the white robe with a gold band around his chest. That picture says these two words, these three words. My distinction of being a completely different character, I will be ornamented, though some people consider it a disease, I'm going to be ornamented by an incredibly calculated, ingenious device that I have determined to be of great importance. And you look right in the middle of this, this five-letter word spelled het shin bet tav yod. Tav yod is the suffix, but het being a castle or a prison or a fence, and then shin bet tav. Why, that's the word Shabbat. And the yod suffix means my. So I can read this word as saying, kept in the middle of the treasure box is the secret that Shabbat is a guarded treasure. And it's his great invention. And for him to allow it to be considered a disease, a blight, and even set up Constantine to perpetuate the next 2,000 years that only the idiots, the Judaizers, the heretics have a regard for Shabbat, the Seventh-day Adventists, and only scoundrels like Jehovah's Witnesses have any regard of his name. But yet the Shabbat is proof that we have a regard of his name in his estimation, in his calculation. The next word, het shin tav yod, means silent, inactive, dried, obscure, and apprehensive about. It's like, we ought to be apprehensive about this. What if we're wrong? What if this is just more lies? What if this is all just a bunch of nothing? The next word, het bet lamed yod, means corruption, destroyed, bound, a measured lot, sabotage. He let his name be sabotaged. He let his day be sabotaged. He let the entire kingdom be ravaged, burned off, and destroyed. But the foundation, the secret foundation buried under it all, yet remains with full integrity. The next word, het zadi vav tav, hyphen to lamed yod lamed hey. Chatzot lila. Chetz is arrow or to bisect, so it's the middle. Lila is night, so this is the middle of the night, lila. But chetz is also arrows. It's also partitions. And lila is a picture of spiraling, or like a spiraling staircase. It could also be read as if I had not taught her. Lamed hey is to her. Lamed yod is my. Zadi vav is commanded. So you could read this, though it's just translated middle of the night. You could say in the middle of the night. Here it is in the depth of the deepest darkness before the dawn. before the Pezadi, it looks as if nothing Yahweh ever said would come true, as if he never taught his people, as if he never instructed. Here's the pattern of events according to the letter sequence, modeled after Yeshua being in the grave for 3 days and 3 nights. And just when he was dead, he's then going to burst out of the grave, resurrection. Always people seems to have forgotten that he ever said that you'll be scattered across the face of the earth and then I'll bring you back. As a matter of fact, talk about midnight partitions of spiraling. There was a fellow, I don't know this site, but I just saw it a couple days ago. I believe the guy is a spokesman for the Worldwide Church of God group denomination. He's on the internet sitting, and he's got like producing a show, so he's got a background like a news anchor format. And he said there's a new police entity in the United States called the CP3, whose job it is to have the states keep a list of all the people who are doing terrorist activity. Get a list that the federal government is going to give $70 million to each state. They have to take 10%, which would be $7 million. And for the CP3 to compile a list of terrorist activators, criminals. And one of the traits of the criminals is that they believe in, so here's thought crime, they believe in British Israelite theory that the lost 10 tribes or even the lost 12 tribes somehow found their way into England or Ireland or Scotland. And if you talk about that, you are now guilty of white supremacist hate crime. If you believe, as a matter of history, that the lost tribes of Israel somehow made it into England, Ireland, Scotland, and then projected into America and across the face of the earth, you're now a white supremacist criminal that needs to be your name written down, documented, so that you can be dealt with accordingly in the near future. That's as of this month. That would be the month of May 2021. The very next word in this group is het bet resh, chaver, as in brothers, friends, companions. It means joined, composed, united, association, a company of scholars, colored stripes, like Joseph's coat of many stripes. Shalom chaverim is peace, my fellows, which are united by Sinai, erudite scholarship of not only the ancient history of the planet and how different peoples have migrated across the face of the earth, but also the scattered 12 tribes of Israel. If you think that the Bible might be true, you now are considered guilty of being a terrorist criminal in the United States of America. Well, ain't that just dandy? But the last word here is chasedoka. Hesed with a kaf suffix means your Hesed. Well, what's Hesed? Het samik is the word for lettuce. How does a bug find refuge? In a head of lettuce, layer upon layer of protection. Samik dalit, like yesod, is family secrets, is a foundation. So here I believe what David is saying is that in spite of being considered a terrorist criminal, my only refuge is in your Hesed, which is translated tender loving kindness, mercy, protection. The secret treasure, the Samik Dalet, inside the Het, with you, Yahuwah, that's all we have. Yahweh is my Elohim, Yahuwah Elohi. That's it, that's all we have. To take on the consciousness of delighting in Yahuwah's words, and guarding and observing everything he said, and believing the promise that just like Joseph wore the coat of many colors that his father Yaakov made him, it's not about Joseph. It wasn't, oh, look at Joseph gets the fancy coat. It's the stripes of brotherhood. Joseph's coat of many colors was not all about him. It was all about the family. The stripes represented his 12 brothers, not him. They misinterpreted what he was saying, what he was wearing. Even being in brotherhood with Yeshua. He didn't ever say, I'm your God, fall on your knees and worship me. He pointed to my Elohim and your Elohim, my father and your father. Worship our Avenu, our Father in the heavens. It's like Yeshua's Joseph wearing the colored stripes when he was put to the ripping of the Zion, marking his flesh in stripes. He wasn't making himself out to be our God. He was making himself out to be like Joseph, our fellow brother, though given preeminence. That's a whole nother part of the study. I'm just saying there's pictures in these words. I'm never diminishing Yeshua's grandeur. I'm trying to find the appropriate regard of worshiping our Father in heaven, with Yeshua being our Mashiach and King of Israel. Getting on to the letter Tet. The word Tet, or the word Tov, spelled Tet Vav Bet. Tet is something round, like a full basket. Bet can be regarded as a house. So this is like a full basket of a house or a full house. It's simply translated the word for good. So you could say what he says here is Tet, or Tov, Tov, Taram, Tovata, Tafalo, Tafash, Tovli, Tovli. Pretty simple. Good. Full house. Good. Interesting. Tet Resh Mem. Resh Mem is where you get the word for Ram or Rome, which is a big, great. Taram means a new thing, but it also means yet it was done before. Kind of like the Paleo-Hebrew. It's a new thing that was done before, so it's not a new thing, but it's basically new. And then Tov Atah, good is the word Tov, and then Atah means you, Y-O-U, but that's Aleph Tav expressed. You are good. Who's good? You are good when you express Aleph Tav. Tet Pe Lamed Vav. He joined, added, attached, supplemental. It's the word parasite, or to take something and smear it over with plaster so it's tasteless or loses its character. To change something or to make it so it can't be regarded. Well, that's why it was an old thing that was been changed and done away with. But and then the word Tet Peshin is dull, gross, stupid foolishness. All this study of Hebrew, of regarding the Moedim, of regarding the Shabbat, of regarding Yahweh's name has all become, over the centuries, Taflo, Tet, Pe Lamed Vav, and Tafash. Dull, gross, stupid, parasitical, tasteless blockage. My goodness. My goodness. Oh, that's the last two words. Tovli, Tovli. But I could also read that is like Tov meaning full house. Lamed Yod means for me. This is a full basket of substance. Or I could say materialized benefit. In my estimation, for me, this is where it's at. This is everything. This is like, it's all right here. This is the full basket. This is the provisions that Yahweh gave his house, and that if I'm in his house, this is the Aleph Tav. This is everything. There's nowhere else to look. This is the it of it. Yod section. Yod Dalet, Yod Kaf. Right in the middle is Dalet Yod, which means sufficient. You, your is the suffix Kaf. He will is the first letter. Yod Dalet means hand, so it can mean your hand sufficiently. Yod Resh Aleph Yod Kaf. You see or my fear or reverence. Your hand sufficiently, you see my fear, you see what's in my heart. You can see what other people don't see. Yod Dalet Ayin, Yada, Dalet Ayin Tav, Da'at, knowledge. Yod, my personal. I will know experientially. Yahi Na, exist, please. Yod Bet Aleph, Vav Nun Yod, I am arriving. Yod Bet Shin Vav, dried up, withered. Yod Shin Vav Bet Vav, he will return, restore. Yahi Lavi, exist my heart. I'm just going to read these, and this is a little differently, just so you know, it's a little different than what I had written up on the version that's on the eriktology.net. So this I was just looking at last night and writing up. You can compare what's written on the eriktology.net site, and you can figure it out for yourself. But I'm just trying to say, without looking at that, what do I come up with just this other mind of looking at these words? Your hand sufficiently, that's to say, Yahuwah, your hand is all I need. You know, you see my heart, and I will know whether this stuff is true because I expect to experience it. Please make it exist. Everything that you said, when you said Yehi, Or, and light existed, everything you said in these 22 letters, make it so, make it exist. Though everything is dried up over 2,000 years of lies and distortion, 3,000 years of your people being idiots, doing everything wayward and wrong, displeasing you, you promise to restore your favor. You promise to restore the earth, the land, nature. You promised when my heart is true and according to my heart. Sets up for the very next word, the letter Kaf. All of it ruined, lost, destroyed. Everything is imprisoned. It's not gone. It's imprisoned. It's not completely destroyed. It just doesn't appear to exist, but yet it exists. Kaf Yod, Hey Yod Yod Tav Yod, Ki Ha Ye Yata Ti. It exists. Everything's imprisoned. It's all ruined, lost, and destroyed. The next word, Kama. How much? Quantified. As it was said. Accordingly, the word Kama also means longed for, eager, or yearning. This is to say, it's our attitude which is driving this thing. If we don't care, nothing's going to happen. If we long for and are eagerly yearning to see Yahuwah's words manifest, everything Yahweh said true, why that plays into the concept of tikva, hope, where Yahweh says, you guys are instrumental. So you picture tikva being a guitar string or a piano string tightened up to reach a certain resonant note, frequency. He says, according to what you guys decide to do with my stuff is what's going to manifest. Don't blame me. I put it in you. The very next word, Kaf Resh Vav Lamed Yod. The feast is up to me. Kaf Resh can mean pasture, banquet, a well of water. Lamed Yod, it's all up to me. If I don't care about Yahweh's stuff, then nothing's going to happen. But he apparently put, you might say, the active ingredient is his people's heart. The next word that David said is kal mitzvoteka. Every one of your commands I will find, and I will regard, and I will do it. Find? How do you find? By seeking his word. The word matzah means to find out how to do something. This is mem zadivav. Zadivav is the word command. Mem is a place where it's hidden, like in a womb. Mem, under the water. every one of your commands. It's going on a treasure hunt. Yahweh loaded the universe and loaded his Torah laden with hidden formulas, secret codes, that if we went like on the proverbial Easter egg hunt, treasure hunt, find where Yahweh said, according to your heart, according to your words, according to your attitude about my stuff, you speak it into action. Name it and claim it. Declare it, cause it to be. Yehi Or. Yahweh Rafka. The last two words of this section are very strange. Kaf mem ayin tet means almost. Except for that close. We're almost there. We almost had it. Except for the last word is kaf chet somek dalet kaf. Like your Hesed. Like your refuge? What does that mean? Another part of the secret formula. Dang. Every time except for some time. Exactly the same, only different. Just like except for. Oh, gosh. Always except maybe. Your Hesed, your tender loving kindness, your refuge is always available except for what? Except for what? Goes back to my heart, my yearning, my expectation, my desire, my even caring about. Shall I force myself to make the effort? Goes back to the letter bet. How is this staged? With all my heart. The condition of my heart accordingly, I have treasured and hidden your Amer in my heart so that I don't sin against you. So I think, based on, if I can believe what David is saying, that when David saw Bathsheba, he went bonkers. His mind just, what would you always say? All I care about is that lady, Bathsheba. Her name should have been a clue. The word Shava means to swear a vow, and Bat means daughter, but it also means to be deserving of. If her father's name was number 7, Shava, maybe he had 7 daughters or 7 children. She was the daughter of the guy with 7. That's one way to read Bathsheba. But David could say, I'm deserving of the curse if I mess with this other guy's wife. That's meaning of the word Bathsheba, deserving of the curse if you don't live up to the vow. One way to read it. But somehow he lost his mind. And so when the prophet came and said, you're the man, you're the guy that did this foul deed, and David goes, oh gosh. Did he go, oh shoot, I was found out? Or was he saying, oh, somehow this got past me, and now you're right, I'm corrupt, I'm the scoundrel. Gosh, Yahweh, forgive me. I somehow didn't see it. So is that what this is saying when it's saying, every one of your commands I will find and regard and do it? Almost. I'm still human. I'm still going to fail. But your Hesed is still available, and I will still run back to you, just like I know that your refuge is there forever. I can't count on me, but I can count on you. And if it's all up to me, then let us make this a great feast, a great banquet, a great well of living water, because it's because of us that everything is imprisoned and ruined and lost and destroyed. I'm just reading this series of the Kaf letters backwards, but yet it exists. Yet everything Yahweh gave us is true. So for people to say, look at the earth, it's doomsday, we've gone too far. No, not so. Yahweh said, even if you were at the brink of destruction, I would have pulled you back if you turned to me. But because you won't turn to me, I'm going to shove you in and call your enemies to bury you in it. But because of Yahuwah's Hesed, his salvation, his rescue is always right now on demand. Exist, please. Yehi na, nun aleph. Right now, please. Cause it to exist. I'm reading the Yod section. I am arriving, though dried up and withered, exist my heart. The dormant seed is still alive. The world is not done. I believe that there could easily be the perspective of the millennium, the 1,000 years in front of us at this juncture of the 6,000th year past us and the 1,000 years in front of us, like the Shabbat, like Shemini Atzeret. One more, not time to quit yet. Yahuwah may have saved the entire next 1,000 years for his people Israel to come back out of the banished captivity, scattered across the face of the earth, and be his resh men, as he desired from the first day he stuck Adam on the face of the earth, that he's never had yet. We might have 1,000 years in front of us as his dream come true. And what that means is a bigger part of the story. There's all kinds of verses talking about it, about whether that's the first resurrection of people coming back to walk the face of the earth, and it's a whole nother thing. Here, I'll get into the letter Lamed. Leolam lador, la mishfateka loli, leolam laka ani, li lakal takala. Forever, unto the generation of you according to my mishpat, I will turn it about. Forever for you I am, mine, each one a bride. Everything else is destroyed. Nothing else matters. Each one a bride, lakal takala. Nothing else matters. Everything else is destruction. All right. I've got to believe these words, period. That's it. Believe these words is the only reality. What did Yahweh say? I'm going to believe it with all my heart and live accordingly, whether anybody else gets it or not. That's it. That's the mission objective. That's a successful life. That's using the talents that he gave us, that he will say, well done, good and faithful servant. All right, there you go. There's the first 12 letters. Back to y'all, Kurt.
Turning everything back on. Give me a second.
Gilin is still on with us, and other people have left, but
Somebody just broke a dish. Are we in a restaurant?
But these words are amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And I believe we're in a time like about this CP3 thing you're saying, the tracing criminals. It's exciting, isn't it? I mean, for me, oh yeah, it is. For me, this is the time. Do we believe it or not, right? So like Judith's place last year, I said, honey, you know what? For Sukkot, they're going to shut us down. And I said, if this Elohim, is the real one, right? He's going to cover us. So I said, let's make this Sukkot the best one. And so we did. And the majority of people there were from Quebec. And here in Quebec, we were not allowed to go to a city to another one. It was that sick. And we had this amazing Sukkot because I was thinking about Daniel's, this eben, this stone that hit the feet, the regal. And it's like, you know what? Let's obey Yahweh. It's not about to disobey the government. I don't care about them. I don't even know what they're saying we can or cannot do right now. I don't care. I don't know. I just do what I have to do. And so we had this amazing Sukkot, and we were mostly Quebecers there in Ontario. My goodness, could you believe this? Terrorists, right? And we had this amazing feast, and we never got disturbed by the police or anything. And now to me, it's like, I believe this is true. I've been testing this over and over, and I would dare to say with scientific proof, because science, I know what it is. And in our society, we don't have any more science right now. So this is really scientific. This is the truth. I know for a fact. And well, if you want to believe something else, go ahead, enjoy the ride. We're all free to study, to research, and to follow what we believe. But if they're saying, let's not preach about this, I mean, this is exciting. Let's preach about this. And if our Elohim is the one true Elohim, he will protect us. If not, I mean, we'll get killed. So we've got nothing to lose anyway. So I think this is a very exciting time to be alive. I don't know. That's my thought.
I would agree. I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. A crazy world out there. Why would we care for them? I was talking with somebody today, and she was saying to me, yeah, that's a sect. And I say, yeah, it is. You know, this society is a sect. Everything is a sect. We need to find what's the truth. I don't know if you've read the book of George Orwell. It's called The Farm Animals. I mean, this book,
yeah,
this makes sense. You know, we kick out the farmer, and now we're in this big mess. So everybody's looking for their way, how to get out of this mess. And it's go ahead, you know, whatever you believe, go ahead for this. I'm not trying to convert anyone anyway. I stand for my own belief, and I will have to answer to my beliefs. And I believe that right now, the alphabet, the Hebrew, Ivrit, this is just it. And I believe this is how we can really make the difference and get us out of this mess we are in right now. And I think this is the time to see, and I know it is, I don't have doubt when I say that our Elohim is the one true Elohim. And I believe it's going to be the time for him, maybe I'm wrong, but to prove to all the people that there's one true Elohim, because there's so many beliefs, there's so many lies. And I feel like, I don't like to say feel, it's not about feeling, it's about the scripture, but it's like, this is the time for Yahweh. You know, this very weird thing, when Moshe said, okay, how can I know? I'm going to put it this way. How can I know this is the truth or this is going to happen? He said, well, let me give you this proof. You'll be here back worshiping me. And I thought, this is not nice for Yahweh to say that to Moshe, right? It's just so cruel, you know? And I feel this is the time right now to say, if this is the one true Elohim, we're going to see it. Or else I'm going to get killed. Isn't that exciting? Yeah.
Bottom line. Exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm sold out to it. Yeah, I believe this is it.
Well, it's like they say, you know, don't invest by putting all your eggs in one basket. That's exactly what we have to do. And the letter Tet is that basket. And all the eggs are going right there. Yahweh is my Elohim. These words are true.
Yeah.
This is the only reality. My job is to conform my mind and my heart according to his words. And that's it. If these words are not true, we're dead. Yeah. And if they are true, Pharaoh's going down in the Sea of Reeds.
Oh, yeah.
And all greatest forces with him.
Absolutely. And I believe like this definition you gave the other day about sanity, this is amazing. It's just sanity. You know, I don't have it before my eyes right now, but I wrote it down. You have this amazing definition, you know, for genius, which I'm not, so I can just simple it out. But sanity, and I'm going to be in this sect. Sanity is about to think with Yahuwah. This is it. I'm totally sold out to it. This is the truth. We've kicked out the farmer like this George Orwell's novel, and we're in this big mess. And we're all humans. We're all natural. We need, like people would say, oh, you have a religion because you're weak, because you need that. Yeah, sure. We all have needs. Don't you admit it? And And sect is about, like people's going to say, oh, I'm free of thinking and all this, and I accept your belief. This is incoherent, because actually, how can you live with me? Let's just to talk about this homosexuality thing, right? Okay, I might say, okay, I tolerate that you are, but they cannot tolerate that I don't tolerate them, right? So this is incoherence. We have to find the creator who decrees the truth, and we walk according to it. So I think this is exciting. Or either we walk according to it or not. And as we do, we might get killed if I got the wrong God, or win the battle. That's my thought. And I think this is the truth.
Yep.
True.
Do or die, as they say.
Do or die. Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to be 54 next month, and one thing I've noticed throughout my life is that if everybody's doing it and everybody agrees on it, it's usually wrong. You know? So
True.
if everybody's in the camp of saying don't study this Hebrew, I'm going to say they're wrong.
Right.
If it's a narrow path, then there aren't many people on it. You know, how does 7 billion people on the planet become a narrow path with very few people on it? What does that look like? 400, 500, 1,000? What's that number? 10? It's not 3 billion people doing the same thing. It can't be.
Mhm.
So anyway, somebody want to close out in prayer? I know Ghislaine loves to pray.
I know. I love it. Yeah. So many amazing things you said about all the letters, the meaning of the letters. It's amazing. I'm getting more and more obsessed when I look up at the letters and the words. It's there. It's really, really there. It's so obvious. I'm getting obsessed. But this is it. We need to be taught. One of the big lies in our society is that truth is in you. Come on, wake up. You're lost, dude. Truth is not in you. It's outside of you. And we need to be taught by the creator. And like this Aleph, I really seen the letter Aleph. This amazing love bursting out of the creator. He has to create life outside of himself. And as he did, this is the bet, which is really you have freedom. So you can become an enemy or a part of. And I mean these letters, they're brilliant. It's all there. Anyway, yeah. Sorry.
No, that's very good. I appreciate what you're saying. That's when you see that, you realize it's because you see it. It's not remembering what I said or what somebody else wrote. It's no, you see it. You see it. That's what's in these letters. And it all makes perfect logical sense. Systematized, logical, indexed, step by step, right down this path from Aleph to Tav.
Yeah. And as you said, I truly believe it's kind of crazy, but anyway, it's may be according to thy faith. And I believe as we cherish those words and we believe this is the truth and we believe that his name is Yud Hey Vav Hey. I mean, this in itself, when Moshe said, yeah, how can I know? And give me a sign or whatever not. And he said, well, it's easy. You're going to be back here worshiping. Just like, man, that doesn't feel right for Moshe, right? It's going to happen because that's who he is. So as we ponder upon him and focus upon him and not be distracted about what the governments are saying or whatnot, I don't know what they're saying. I don't care. I'm focusing on the Aleph Bet, and as we focus on it, I believe it will happen.
Well, it's interesting. The answer to the question, who is this Elohim that you have a regard of?
Yeah.
Well, he's the one who said these 22 things about himself both his identity and what he's going to do. And so when you say, well, how do I know that's true? It's because this is what's happened and will happen. So when he says to Moshe, you're going to come back and worship me on the mountain, can you give me a sign? Yeah, the sign is you're going to stand here and worship me on the mountain. So if Yahweh says, I am the guy that's represented by these 22 letters, and it's like, yeah, well, who is he? He's got represented by the 22 letters. And if I add more or take away from the 22 letters, then I'm supplementing the purest communication that he determined for himself, which is the 22 letters. Learn the meaning of the 22 letters. That's him. Yeah, but what's he going to do? The 22 letters. If I try to put it into Greek or Latin or English or even give you more words, I'm taking away from the pure, clean essence, the essence of his identity and his agenda with these 22 letters. So each person has to wrap their mind and their being all around the 22 letters in order to know him. I can't tell you about him. I can just say, he's this guy. The rest is up to you. Make it your own. Ashri. Anyway, do you want to close out in a prayer there, Ghislaine, and then we'll...
I just want to throw one more thing, just struck my brain. Okay, so if English is a language that you want to go with and stick with, but English is a commerce language, and commerce is based on making money. Isn't that Mammon? So English is Mammon, the god of money. If that's where you want to hang your hat, good luck.
There's more to what you're saying, Kurt, that is a whole nother subject that we probably won't get into, but there's one guy in particular that studied the English language about the language of commerce. I forget his name, but English words are used in law based on Latin words, and every word means something. Every word in English that they use in law is written as a secret code, which is why Clinton said, depends on the meaning of what the word is, because there's a dozen meanings of the word is in Black's Law Dictionary, but they have messed with writing English words. And if you write with capital letters or capital and lowercase, there's certain laws that you have to have dots and hyphens and on and on and on and on. And they have made the thing so convoluted because they own the world of commerce, admiralty law, British admiralty. They've lied to us and they've entrapped us with the English language, and they own the English language. Yahweh owns, and especially the Paleo letters, that's his. The Jews, you might say, own the modern Hebrew, fine, well, whatever. But this is, you might say, for Ephraim, if you want to call it that, but it's Yahuwah's language of his kingdom, as far as I believe.
All right, let's close out in prayer.
Okay. Yelin, you want to have the honors?
Father, we thank you. We thank you for your mercy that you extend your hand to us to reveal yourself to us with and through the Aleph bed. So we turn to you. And I ask you, like Paul has prayed, open the eyes of our heart that we may see and understand and comprehend the depth, the height, and the width of your word. Thank you, Father. Blessed be your name. Amen.
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 Well, okay, so next week we'll get in through the letters of Mem through Tav.
Yeah, good.
Shalom.
Shalom, everyone.